Okay, that was something. So, funny kind of confluence of coincidences. After I did my video talking about the fourth episode of Has Been Hotel over on my main channel, if you haven't checked it out, look at it there. I mentioned in that video that I am a sex worker. And again, go to the video for more information on that and for clarification if you feel you need it. And folks mentioned some in the comments, like some things that they would be curious to get my views and opinion on, because they thought maybe it's a more positive depiction than what I was highlighting as being the issues in that video. And one of the things that got mentioned was a movie called Cam from 2018. Funnily enough, that's on the commission docket. So I bumped that one up to check out. Yeah. This was really good, especially because it was not what I thought it would be. When I saw the description on this as being a thriller, even knowing that the screenwriter was herself a cam girl and brought a lot of her own experiences to the script, even though I knew that was informed, just seeing that this was a thriller, I'm like, oh, okay, I am 95% positive. I know where this is going to go, and I don't want it if it goes where I expect it to go. And I really expected it to go into areas of, oh, look at the inherent danger of this kind of work through guys being creepy and stalking, and ooh, you put yourself out there, and these guys get obsessed with you, and this sort of nonsense. Well, I don't want to say nonsense. I don't want to say that that kind of thing doesn't happen. It does, but it is the most obvious way that you can go with this. It's a very thin line to walk to try and depict that kind of thing without implicating the sex worker or cam girl in her own harassment because of the line of work that she does. I don't trust most films to do that. The thing is, this isn't doing that at all. That's not even what it's trying to do. So forget whether or not I can walk the line. That's not even what the movie's doing. What the movie does instead is really interesting. And this is gonna get spoilery as I go. It's gonna kind of have to. But I'll give you a warning before I really get there. Okay, so our lead character is Alice, whose online persona is Lola. And as I said, Lola is a cam girl. And while I said I myself have some experience in various areas of sex work, both past and present, camming is something that I have a pretty low degree of experience with, actually largely for reasons that I know this film depicts accurately, which is just the sheer amount of time and dedication you have to invest in order to really succeed in that particular area of sex work. You need a really good, dedicated filming area, really good setup for your streaming. You need to be doing it a lot, and it is highly competitive. You're often competing for clients and for ranking spots on whatever site you're doing the streaming on. And all of that is depicted here. And I feel, even though this, like, my small amount of experience that I have with camming has been sporadic over a very long stretch of time, and I never did it in the way that this is depicting, but I do know people who do. So I still feel confident in saying, like, this is really quite accurate, and it shows, you know, the thrill that comes from doing it well, but also the stumbles and the frustration that comes with, like, I should be doing better, which honestly, if you've done any kind of creation on anything that is like that, which I would include YouTube, when you're competing for eyes and validation and attention, yeah, if you understand that, at least it could still connect with you, even if you don't fully understand or have any experience with actual camming or sex work of that kind at all. But it depicts that. It feels very honestly. It's not pointing it out as a problem or a bad thing. It's pointing out some of the stressors involved with it, because yeah, literally every job has stressors involved in it. And it's not it's not wagging a finger. There's kind of a mix of things. Like some people, like like she has friends who are also in this line of work. Some people in her life who are important to her who are not at all involved, but like do know and are supportive. She hasn't told everybody in her life. That's not uncommon. But then then it gets to the part where things really kick off, which is that one day she tries to log into her account and she can't. And it turns out that somebody's streaming on her account. Somebody who looks and acts just like her. And they are streaming live. It's not a recording. They are interacting with the chat. Somebody has taken over what she does and is starting to succeed at it better than her. And when I say it looks exactly like her, I mean same actress who she's so good in this. I'm like I cannot. I tried to keep names straight before I sat down, but I was worried I was going to get the actor and the writer confused. Putting names up. Here's the actor. She is really, really, really good in this. Also, the script is great. So you know what? Here's the screenwriter. She did fantastic work. So to get a little bit more into it, I am going to have to start getting into spoilers. So like that premise, if that sounds intriguing to you at all, it is a thriller. So there is high tension. There's really only one aspect of it that I personally kind of cringed at, but it's not because it's poorly done. It's just one of the few aspects of it I found a bit on the predictable side and went, at least initially, more or less where I expected it to, although its ultimate resolution on that was not what I was expecting. So that was nice. So, you know, there's that. I'm giving this a thumbs up. This is good. If you like thrillers and if you have any curiosity whatsoever at what this kind of work, this specific segment of sex work is like, of doing cam work, yeah, it's actually even as it heads into its thriller aspects, it's a pretty solid depiction of trying to do that as your full-time source of income. So yeah, it's quite good. And as a depiction of sex work, big thumbs up. This is great. All right, we're going to start to get into spoilers now. So the one thing that I kind of a little bit at is the scene in which, okay, actually, let me back up. Her brother knows what she does, but, you know, he's like, you know, it's whatever. He doesn't care. He's her younger brother. He still lives at home with their mother, and at his birthday party, his friends have found out, and they expose her, which means there's this big humiliation scene in front of all these people and her mother. And humiliation is really hard for me to watch. And also it's the kind of thing that was pretty predictable the instant you found out her mother doesn't know yet what she does. Like, well, that's obviously going to be a thing that happens. So like, I didn't particularly enjoy that. Not to say that it's poorly done. It's just something I don't want to see. That having been said, when she goes back and talks to her mother again, like her mother is, you know, obviously there was a shock and a surprise, but she's trying to be helping and accepting. And at the very end of the movie, after everything has gone down, and I'll go into that a little bit more, after everything has gone down, her mother is helping her set up to start streaming again. Her mother is not only like, well, you know, honey, you go ahead. Like she's helping, yeah, you know, helping her with her makeup and get ready. And, you know, not gonna be on cam with her. It doesn't go there. Head out of the gutter. Ugh. But just in general, that supportiveness, that was nice. So even though I didn't like the exposed to your mother who didn't know, I didn't like that whole thing, it does at least go somewhere that I did like seeing. All right, so in terms of the thriller aspects of it, now, while I did say that this does not get into sort of the stalker sort of plots that I was expecting, it's not devoid of that, but it handles it in a way that, at least to me, feels reasonable and largely realistic. Because if you are if you are going to do this work, if somebody gets particularly interested in you, that there is the concern that they start following you from platform to platform, trying to find out your actual name, your actual number, and things of that nature. Like, those are concerns of doing this kind of work. And it touches on that. It's not going to pretend like that doesn't happen. And if you are going to ever meet people in person, there is an inherent danger at them disrespecting the dynamic and thinking that they are entitled to things that they're not. And also, I like the rules that she had in place for herself. I don't fake orgasms, and I never tell my audience that I love them, because she does not want to do that kind of she feels emotional manipulation. And I again appreciate that as an approach. So while that stuff is there, it doesn't take over the story. It feels, while presented like as, yeah, these are issues, it doesn't feel sensationalized or exploitative, because in terms of what actually is going on, I don't know. And that might end up being a sticking point for some people, because we don't really get a proper explanation of what it is that has taken over her account. We don't know what it is. We don't know what its goals are. We kind of learn how it operates, but what exactly it is that took over her account and is presenting as her, we don't really find out. And I think it balances that pretty well, because ultimately, for the story it's telling, it doesn't matter. What this thing is that it becomes a way of manifesting every fear that she has about herself, not just in her line of work, but like in her life. Somebody else is better. Not only is somebody better, somebody is better with my face. Somebody has taken this thing that I feel like I have control of, and now suddenly it's gone from me. People aren't helping me. I go to the police, but I am disrespected because of what I do for work. All of that feels like, again, not an exploitative, but a realistic extrapolation of the fears that somebody who does this line of work would have. This might be a strange comparison, but I can liken it in a lot of ways to, at least in terms of conception to execution, to Get Out. Because Jordan Peele said in creating Get Out that what he wanted to do was literalize and manifest that awkward feeling that he would get going to, these meetings or these gatherings with a bunch of well-to-do white people and being the only black guy in the room. Like, finding a story that would allow him to explore that notion at a level that it becomes horror. And I feel like this largely comes at things from a similar perspective and a similar angle. The idea of taking those anxieties of, what if I just can't grab the audience? What if somebody's better than me? What if I do this in the way that I do to have control? What if I lose that control? What if I can't? What if I cannot get what I'm trying to get out of doing this? What is the most extreme version of that? This is. So what it actually is that has done this to her doesn't matter, because thematically it's doing exactly what it needs to do. I did, out of curiosity, look into whether or not there are theories on this. There are a few. Here's what I would say. This movie was made in 2018. If it was made today, I think it would be very safe to assume it would kind of be a cautionary tale about AI, because that would fit. Like, generative AI program that just took everything over and pretended to be her and passed off, and feeding the whole thing of like, oh, I know this gets a positive response, so I'll keep doing it, which is the kind of thing that algorithms and AI will do. But it can't be that, because not only was it made in 2018, it's set in 2015. So whatever it is, it's not that. And actually, that made me appreciate it more, realizing that it had been set several years from when it was filmed and released, several years previous, because it eliminates that option that it's just an AI, because I think that would be the assumption otherwise. And I think taking that off the table, that it just makes you think more about what it means, what is depicted, like what is the purpose and the theming of this, and care less about like it's a technological cautionary tale. Like, not really. Not any more than like a truly good episode of Black Mirror would be, because those aren't about the tech. Those are about people. This is about a person. That said, some of the tech is used very well, like the use of artifacting and sort of visual glitches is done in some really subtle but really like what the frick ways at a few points. That's really, really well done. And the way that she takes control back by asserting herself, asserting her power, her drive to take control again, and also being willing, ultimately, to start over in order to regain control. I think this is so well done. Like, if I was of a mind, like, honestly, I don't know, on the off chance this review blows up somehow, if this gets like 10,000 views, I'll do like a full video essay style breakdown on this thing and really dig into it. And I'll put it on the main channel. That's not going to happen. Reviews don't get those kind of views on here. But like, if there was legitimate interest in doing so, I absolutely could. There's a lot I could dig into with this. And I hope that if nothing else, maybe more people will check it out, because even if you stuck through the spoiler section but haven't seen it yet, there's a lot that you'll get from it that I haven't told you. And I don't mean like plot twists or whatever. It's not actually a particularly super twisty movie, but just in terms of like the experience of watching it, yeah, this was good. This was real good. Cam, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills, enables me to do this as my living. Even if you can't help me out that way. Oh, that's also how I was commissioned to review this, by the way. Even if you can't help me out that way, like, share, subscribe. Those are all helpful, but don't worry too much about it. We take a relaxed attitude here, so you can come on back next time you need a break. And I'd like to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Zubin Lafula, Goddess Elida, Oliver B., Tarak, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Ruth, Solitary Pictures, Ulrich Bogdan, Geek Filter, Linda Walters, Jen, Auntie Kate 808, Becky Sparks, Frenabulax, The Poodle, Robin Powell, T-Love, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperol, Dave Hall, White Bearish, Rosalind Bennett, Pau Barabajagal, and Mara G. Yes, we do have new rats in the house. Whoa, you want it? We actually have two. This is Brownie. I couldn't get Sprite to come out, but say hi. Thanks for the support.